Welcome everyone, it's Vapor Dragomar. It's time for some more Elder Scrolls Online. This is it. The grand finale to this rotation of Doom Tower and the introduction of a much more brutal version. So, we're going to start off with different teams. So, we're going to start off with a basic bargain basement team for Griffin. I'm going to try to use it with all accessible champs right now for this version. So we'll do Haikatoon, Outlander, where's Coffin Smash? Coffin Smasher? Coffin Smasher's essential for this. A Cleanser, Spirit Host, I'm trying to make this as friendly as I can. We'll put Kale in there, but a number of champs would do. This is like ultra budget. Ultra budget team. Hopefully we can make it work. If not, we'll shove an apothecary into the mix. The fact that decreased attack is not landing is bad news. There we go. Perfect. It's the first boss done with rares, and that went epic. Okay, this fight, we're going to want to do a more minimalistic. Problem is, okay, since I don't have a lot of accessible provokers, I'm just going to have to do my typical provoker strat. You can use, I don't know, does she have the accuracy? I say this because everyone gets her. She could work. She could work. Visix, there's a number of them. I'm going to start with Visix because I know that not a lot of you guys love Black Knight. So Visix could be a good substitute. Even though she's only rank 5 since this is low on the tower. We can also compare her to Black Knight. Black Knight's going to be the backup. Like any provoker, like even that other champ, do I have him still? Is the question. Yeah, him. Actually, let's compare provokers, shall we? You're going to want heals, though. And you're going to want enemy max HP. smacks. That's the general recipe. All right. I'm showing this because this is literally the last time I'll be able to show this rotation before it expires. These are most of the champs you can use to provoke the boss. The problem is a lot of them are not built out, so I'm kind of counting on Syl and Black Knight to carry this one. The most accessible is going to be Sentinel. Sentinel here is going to be the most accessible. Why? Because he's a rare. He's a rare that's easily summonable from Mystery and Ancient Shards. He's not hard to find. Most importantly from Mystery Shards. Because everyone has access to those. I'm doing this because the next rotation is going to be a nightmare and a half. I promise you. Yeah, you want to keep this sucker provoked at all times. If at all possible. Oh, she doesn't even have that provoke move at that ascension. Oh well. You have to ascend her more, I forgot. At any rate, you want to keep this buff provoke on this boss pretty much 100% of the time. If not, you are in dire peril. Right now, I'm in dire peril. As the second he puts that buff up, we are in a very bad situation. See that? Had that been the bigger dragon, we would have taken a very bad smack. Alright, so that's the next one. This is Nether Spider. So, there's a number of teams. I am going to actually, I'm still going to use Mausoleum Mage with... We can actually use War Maiden. We still want burns on this boss. But you don't need it. You can throw Kale in there instead. And then... You don't really need anyone else. But... Since... This boss can be a bit scary. If you want... And I recommend it. Toss in an Apothecary or a Valerie. I'll just do Valerie for the sake of budget. Because you guys are going to want to see me do budget stuff. People are gonna like, but what about this advanced champ? You don't need the advanced champs until higher in the tower. That's the truth of the matter. It's only as you go up the tower that more and more advanced champs are needed. Now, you don't need a Mausoleum Mage. You can replace it with a second Spirit Host. I'm just doing it because I didn't max a second Spirit Host. You can just max a second Spirit Host and do it that way. If you did it that way, you know. It is possible to do it that way. If you have another cleanser, do you need a Spirit Host? No. Spirit Host's main purpose in the later game is cleanser. Like so. Now this only works on the lower nether spider, and it's dangerous. It's best to have a leech on this boss. Or like auxiliary healing. Cleanse is mandatory. Block debuffs is optional. I'm doing it like this because I don't really want to edit the rest of the stuff out that I was doing before, and because I felt like I've been feeling like garbage lately. I know Jai Plays wanted me to watch his entire 5-hour thing, but I was only going to watch some of it because I've been feeling like trash. So, there's that. There we go. No losses. It could have been all rares if I just swapped for 2 max spirit hosts, but I needed someone like that. The Mausoleum Mage is optional, although heals help. Now, let's go for budget team. Budget. This is the first one where you generalistically want a Drexthar. Generalistically speaking, as unbudget as that is. Kale. War Maiden. High Katoon. I guess Ultimate Death Knight, or like the problem. Actually, no. You know what we really need? Him. You want to know why we need Coffin Smasher, right? Can anyone make a guess? Anyone at all? The reason we need Coffin Smasher is because we need attack down. If you don't have attack down in this boss, you are going to have a bad time. Like a really bad time. So remember that when you're fighting this boss. It doesn't matter what you got. Get that attack down in. Because if you don't have attack down, I'm sorry. This boss is going to destroy you. You need attack down. Decrease defense, all that other stuff is optional. Attack down is not optional. Drexthar, though, drastically speeds up this fight, but do not go without the attack down. You will absolutely regret it. And there you go. So now we're going into the harder fights, whereby the budget teams are a little bit more stringy. This is the first case where multiple attack downs like Sepulture. You don't need Sepulture, but things with attack down. Bog Walker. You want one burn, but you need the attack down. Anything with attack down. If it's got attack down, you want it. You want to avoid decreased defense because it will throw the decreased defense back at you and blow you to smithereens. Do we have any other budget attack downs? I mean, there's also him, but he's an epic, whatever. Like, you want as many forms of attack down. Taragi will also work. Just make sure there's attack down, alright? Drexthar is an effective burner for this, but the main thing, what I'm trying to show, is that in a main setup, you're gonna want attack down in a budget setup. And the more budget your setup, the more you need attack down. Notice how I'm going multiple attack downs. Because that's what you need in here. Now, this only works on this rotation. It does not work on the Dark Fae rotation. The Dark Fae rotation has a whole nother set of rules that are far harder to follow. The hardest of which is trying to deal with Dark Fae unless you somehow were lucky enough to get Trunda or one of those big nukers. Now, why did I not pull shards tonight for Trunda, even though there was a 10x for Trunda? Number one, I don't want to reset my Mercy before clan versus clan because I work hard to pull legendaries versus clan. Second, I know that I'm probably still not near Mercy, and I know that the odds of me pulling shards on a 10x is minuscule unless there's a 10x and more chances on top of that. 10x for Trunda just is not much when she's already unbelievably rare. Now, you might ask, what is the value of Sepulture in this situation? Well, you see, Sepulture is actually a beautiful champion, even though she is, her name is ugly. But I can relate. But yes, she has a very specific purpose. Her purpose is to do attack down and to try to make your team comp less vulnerable. Because this team comp, like this boss, is a massive nuisance. Like a massive nuisance. burn. Keeping decreased attack the entire time is extremely important with this boss. I cannot emphasize to you enough how important it is. And the lower damage your team comp, the more the decreased attack is essential. So remember that. Also, block debuffs is useful if he doesn't strip it. The burn up. That rat's off to you did that. That would be great. This is bad. Okay. Because the longer he does that move, the worse this becomes. Notice how much more damage it's starting to deal. Note why I put decreased attack throughout this team. There's a reason. See, keeping that there means the boss behaves itself. Because you must break its attack for this method to work. See, and Coffin Smasher is the most reliable attack down of any of these. That's why I rely on him so much. Also, another thing to note, this boss strips off your buffs. That's what makes this boss particularly hazardous. It's why attack down is incredibly valuable. Come on. This is why you don't want the attack down gone. This is why. Because the second the attack down misses, you're in for a hell in a handbasket. That's why. See what I mean? It's the number one debuff you don't want to miss on this boss. Number one debuff. Come on. There we go. It's floor 50. And then I'm going to have to do the next set later, soon, tonight.